everyone. Welcome to the podcast Mind Unlocked. I'm Emily, 24 years old, an English teacher from Toronto, Canada, currently living and working in Ho Chi Minh City.
And I'm James, 25 years old, from London, currently working as a programmer in Vietnam. I really love learning languages, and today we're going to talk about a very interesting topic: how to train your brain to understand English quickly and effectively.
This topic isn't new, but it's always important. Many people study English for years, but still find it hard to understand native speakers. Why is that? It's because our brain needs the right conditions to truly absorb a language naturally.
Exactly. When I first came to Vietnam, I tried to learn Vietnamese by studying vocabulary and grammar the way I did at school. But I found out that the brain doesn't absorb language effectively that way anymore. I started listening to music, watching comedy shows, and suddenly, words began sticking in my head.
That's because the brain needs natural repetition and emotion. When you hear a funny sentence or a piece of music that moves you, the brain remembers it much faster than rote memorization of vocabulary on paper.
So, passive listening is an effective method, but many people don't understand how to do it correctly.
Passive listening doesn't mean just listening for the sake of it. It means listening regularly every day while doing activities that don't require much thinking, like cooking, exercising, or walking. Your brain will soak up English naturally, just like children learning their mother tongue.
One trick I often use is setting English podcasts as my ringtone or alarm sound. It sounds strange, but every morning when I wake up, I'm already exposed to English first thing. It's like resetting the brain's language mode.
Great. Another tip is to set your environment to English, your phone, social media, YouTube channels. Your brain will no longer feel English is something foreign.
Moving on to reading comprehension. Many people complain that reading English is tiring. The problem isn't just vocabulary, but also the habit of translating word by word.
Right. Translating word by word breaks your flow and makes it hard to grasp the overall meaning. I recommend practicing skimming and scanning skills, quickly reading to catch the main idea and only looking for necessary details.
I used to practice by reading news every morning, picking a topic I liked, reading the English version, then trying to rewrite it in my own words.
That's very effective. Also, learn vocabulary in chunks rather than single words. For example, just learn interest, but learn take an interest in or show interest.
I find that learning phrases helps me remember longer and use English more naturally. Once I said, "I have interest in," and people found it confusing, but when I switched to, "I'm interested in," everything went smoothly.
And when you combine listening, reading, speaking, and writing daily, even just 10 to 15 minutes for each skill, you'll see clear progress in 2 to 3 weeks.
Speaking of writing, many people are afraid of writing in English. Actually, it's the easiest skill to practice if you know how. Just write down what you think in English, even if your grammar isn't perfect. Write first, then revise later.
You can start by writing a diary, then move on to blogging or writing book or movie reviews. Think of writing English as a way to express yourself, not a test.
As for speaking English, I used to be shy because my pronunciation wasn't perfect, and I was afraid of being laughed at. But later, I realized native speakers don't care as much as I thought. They just want to understand what you mean.
Exactly. Language learners need to overcome perfectionism. Just speak, make mistakes, and correct them. The important thing is to speak regularly. You can talk to yourself, imitate characters in movies, or join conversation groups.
I have a group of friends who meet online weekly. Each person tells a short story, sometimes funny, sometimes news. It's like a language workout, and it's really fun.
And don't forget reflex. Reflex doesn't come from studying a lot, but from practicing consistently. One phrase I really like is, "Language is not for memorizing, but for using."
Awesome. Before we finish, let's recap some key principles. Daily exposure to the language through listening, reading, writing, and speaking, connecting emotions and personal interests with learning. And finally, perseverance, perseverance, and perseverance.
Exactly. You don't need to study 8 hours a day, just 30 to 60 minutes daily, but truly living with English. And you'll be surprised by the results.
Thank you so much, Emily, for such an inspiring and practical conversation. I hope everyone listening to today's podcast feels motivated to practice every day.
I'm also very happy to accompany you all. Remember, learning a language is not just about mastering a skill, but expanding your world. Next is the Q&A section, where we'll answer some common questions English learners often have. These questions were gathered from workshops and social media comments.
First question. I've studied English for a long time, but still don't understand native speakers when they talk. What should I do?
This is very common. The problem isn't vocabulary, but the speed and natural linking sounds in English. You need to practice real listening, not just textbook listening, but real-life videos, movies, vlogs with English subtitles. Then listen again without subtitles and practice shadowing to get used to the sounds.
Second question. I know the word but can't say it when I need to.
That's because vocabulary hasn't shifted from passive to active memory. You need to use the words repeatedly through writing, speaking, making sentences. Try a game. Every day, choose 5 new words and tell a short story using all of them.
Third question. How important is grammar? Should I study it thoroughly?
Grammar is important, but don't let it stop you from communicating. Learn grammar through context, reading books, listening to podcasts. Don't learn it like math. Learn it like learning to drive. Practice and feel the rules.
Last question. I get discouraged easily when learning English. How do I stay motivated?
Motivation doesn't come from outside, but from seeing your own progress. Set small, achievable goals. For example, today, I will watch 1 TED Talk video without stopping. Track your progress and celebrate small wins. Also, learn for what you love, not for grades or pressure.
Hopefully, this Q&A answered some of your concerns. If you have questions, don't hesitate to leave comments or email us.
Right. And don't forget to take reasonable breaks. Studying too much can tire you and lead to giving up. Instead, use the Pomodoro technique. 25 minutes focus, 5 minutes rest. It's very effective for staying alert and motivated.
Another way is to find a community or study buddy. When you have company, you feel more responsible, easier to keep the habit, and can share difficulties and learning tips.
Before we end the podcast, we want to share a very practical and easy-to-apply plan, a 7-day English learning schedule for busy people who still want steady progress.
Exactly. Here's a sample schedule where you spend only about 30 to 45 minutes a day. The most important goal is to build a consistent habit so your brain gets used to and processes English more naturally and efficiently.
Day 1. Listening. Listen to a podcast on a topic you like for about 10 minutes. Try shadowing. Repeat the part you like to practice speaking reflexes. Write down 3 new phrases and make your own sentences to remember better.
Day 2. Reading. Read an article or short news from reliable sources like BBC or VOA Learning English. Underline interesting phrases. Try to guess the meaning before checking the dictionary. Summarize the main idea in 5 short English sentences to reinforce understanding and expression.
Day 3. Writing. Write a short paragraph of about 5 to 7 sentences describing a day in your life in English. Include 3 new vocabulary words you learned. Use Grammarly app or ask friends to edit to improve your writing.
Day 4. Speaking. Choose a simple topic like hobbies or daily habits. Record yourself speaking for 2 to 3 minutes to practice pronunciation and fluency. Listen back and note areas for improvement in pronunciation or word choice.
Day 5. Combining skills. Watch a short English video with subtitles. Practice listening, reading along, and repeating to build confidence. Write a short comment or honest feedback about the video.
Day 6. Grammar practice in context. Choose a specific grammar structure, for example, first conditional sentences. Write 3 sentences using that structure.
Day 7. Review and creativity. Review vocabulary, sentences, and paragraphs learned in the past 6 days. Create a short dialogue of about 10 sentences reusing old words and structures. If possible, act it out with friends or record yourself to evaluate and improve.
You don't have to follow the order strictly. Adjust it to fit your lifestyle. The key is a little every day, consistently, with feeling and fun.
Besides practicing regularly, we want to share 2 very important parts: common mistakes in learning English and modern tools that help you learn more effectively.
Right. First, I want to talk about mistakes many people make but don't notice.
The first mistake is learning words individually instead of in phrases. For example, learning run but not knowing run out of or run into makes it hard to use correctly.
The second mistake is learning grammar in isolation. only knowing theory without applying it in daily communication.
Another mistake is being too worried about perfect pronunciation like a native speaker, which makes you lose confidence and hesitate to speak. Actually, the most important thing is that the listener understands you.
The fourth mistake is learning without practicing. You may know 1,000 words, but if you don't use them to speak or write, it doesn't mean much.
And the last mistake I want to mention is comparing yourself too much with others. Everyone learns at their own pace. What matters is that you improve every day, not anyone else.
Now to my favorite part, introducing modern English learning tools that are very convenient and mostly free or low cost.
The first tool I want to introduce is Elsa Speak, an AI-powered pronunciation app that helps you detect and correct pronunciation errors precisely. Elsa listens to your voice and gives specific feedback on each sound and word to help you improve little by little. It's especially suitable for beginners or those struggling with pronunciation because of its friendly interface, diverse exercises, and easy-to-follow lessons. You practice from basic sounds to more complex phrases, helping you pronounce naturally and clearly.
Next is Grammarly, a very useful tool when practicing English writing. Grammarly not only detects spelling errors, but also helps you correct grammar, word usage, and sentence structure to make your writing smooth and natural. It acts like a writing assistant, helping you avoid common mistakes learners often make. Additionally, Grammarly offers advanced suggestions to improve your writing style, so you can feel more confident writing emails, essays, or any English text.
The third tool I really like is Youglish. It's a platform that helps you hear vocabulary used in real-life contexts through thousands of actual YouTube videos. Just type the word or phrase you want to learn, and Youglish will find video clips containing it, so you can hear how native speakers pronounce, stress, and use it in sentences. This method is very effective for understanding word usage and communication, and avoiding learning words in wrong contexts.
Besides that, there are apps like Anki or Quizlet that help you learn vocabulary using flashcards very effectively. Their highlight is supporting images, accurate pronunciation audio, and smart spaced repetition systems that remind you to review at the right intervals, helping you remember words longer without forgetting quickly. You can create your own flashcards or download ready-made sets and study anytime, anywhere on your phone or computer very conveniently.
Finally, a very versatile tool, ChatGPT. You can use this chatbot as a study buddy who's always ready to chat, answer questions, practice simulated conversations on topics you choose. ChatGPT can also help you correct sentences, write emails, create exercises, and even explain grammar in an easy-to-understand way. Learning with ChatGPT helps you be proactive, flexible, and have an experience close to learning with native speakers.
The important thing is that you must be proactive. No tool is effective if you just open it, but don't use it actively.
And remember, technology is a tool, but motivation and perseverance are the deciding factors.
Hopefully, these shares will help you avoid pitfalls and find effective learning methods that suit you.
Learning English is a journey of expanding yourself. Wishing you find joy on that journey. Thank you all for listening. Wish you always keep faith and love for this language sustainably. Goodbye, and see you next time.
Goodbye, and see you next time.